Hey everyone, it's that time we've all been waiting for. Yep, it's beer release party time. Mark your calendars, November 18th from noon to 6. Bring all your beer drinking friends and come to experience a truly unique beer at Georgetown Brewing. From batch to batch, I try to get whiskey barrels from local distilleries. Batch number 8 came from our good friend Jason Parker at Copworks Distilling in Seattle. When Craig found out I had a barrel with some residual honey from my aging process, he was interested in using it to age a batch of beer. We set up a date and he came down to pick up the barrel with his truck. A couple weeks later, I met up with him at Georgetown. He had invited me up to watch the beer going into the barrel. I thought you might like to see the process and learn more about the beer, so here we go. What's the project for do you just pretty much have free reign to do what you want with it?
100% free reign, but I've got some license.
Yeah.
So you contacted, I think, through the tap room. I got your card.
Yeah.
It's like barrel.
And then just
I'm
excited to have a barrel with honey in it.
Any kind of new barrel project, I'm absolutely into. We've got a barrel farm behind you that way, and quite a few different varieties of barrels. So the one that you've given us is unique. Ex-Copperworks, so ex-bourbon, recently filled with honey. This is the kind of project that is never going to happen again. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Which makes me super excited.
And me too.
You want to take a peek inside of it?
Yeah, let's do it.
I poured a little bit off just to make sure it hadn't soured, but it's in there.
Oh yeah, look at that.
It smells phenomenal.
You know, it smells even better when I'm pouring the honey into it.
It's mostly whiskey at that point.
Right. So what kind of beer are we putting into it?
Sure. Yeah, I'm struggling to find a succinct way to say it.
Okay.
It's a Belgian style, so I'm using Belgian Abbey yeast. Specifically BE256, which is an Abbey style, so able to attenuate very quickly, churn through as much sugar as we can. Brewed it on Friday of last week. Sorry you missed it.
It's okay.
It was a wild ride. Mashed into this vessel.
Okay.
It's a 15-barrel mash tun. I watered into a separate kettle, which was a 1.5-barrel kettle. And then I diverted a further 1.5 barrels. I ended up boiling in total for about 4 hours. So really caramelizing, get a lot of it's like very dark character from it. The malt bill, relatively simple, a lot of two-row. Then I use a couple of specialty malts, some white wheat, Cara Amber. What did I use? Spelts, just to give it kind of a little more rustic character, maybe nutty, grainy, husky. But the yeast loved it. So I went from a starting gravity that is almost twice what Bodhisattva is, and finished, let's see, it's probably creeping up on 13% alcohol right now.
Wow. All right. So when it goes into the barrel,
pre-honey,
yeah,
pre-barrels. So we're expecting to see a little bit more activity. No telling where it's going to end up. No telling if the yeast is going to be overtaxed and we'll get a lot of honey character, or if that honey is going to get converted into simpler sugars and then consumed again to create more alcohol. No way to know until we get there. But I'm guessing anywhere from 6 months to a year. Just depends on how it's tasting in a few months, how cold this winter is, how quickly it gets warm in the spring, evaporation, all that jazz. A lot of different variables to kind of consider, but
eventually,
no need to panic.
It's going to be
it's going to be a
beautiful
fun
thing,
project.
right?
Yeah. Grab some tasters actually. Try the beer.
All right.
Okay. As you can see, it's got almost like a mayonnaise color to it, but this is pre-filtration. There's still a lot of yeast in suspension. The yeast is doing its job. It's not only consuming those sugars to create alcohol and CO2 as a byproduct, but also cleaning up after itself, getting some of the volatile compounds, precursors to diacetyl, which will be kind of a buttery flavor, which we don't want. We want the yeast to clean that up. Things like DMS, which give it kind of a papery or almost cardboardy texture that we're not looking for.
Yeah.
We're looking for a nice, clean, estery, maybe a little phenolic Belgian ale, very warming. That alcohol is going to contribute that. And then whatever the honey's going to do, I'm excited to see how that plays with everything that's involved.
Yeah, not only the getting a little bit of extra alcohol, but also the flavor, right?
Yeah. So it could be like hay. It could be flowers. I've had very few honey beers that I've been like, I want more of that. I've had a couple, and they're always really interesting.
Yeah.
And complex. It's like a really nice thing to share with friends. So hopefully it pans out.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. It's going to be fun to see it when it comes out.
In terms of the process that I'm looking at right now, I've got this racking cane behind me, something called a bulldog. I'm going to use head pressure from the tank, push through these hoses into the bulldog and into the barrel. Before I do that, I do have to burn it. I'm going to use hot liquor. It's approximately 185 degrees, just to sanitize the line, make sure that there's nothing in there that we're going to accidentally pass on.
Yeah.
That takes a couple of minutes, unfortunately.
Okay.
I'm not super prepared. Get that process started. All right. Stopping the flow of hot liquor.
Now that's just to clean out the lines?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Those lines are clean, but
It's all
because I
about
haven't used it
sanitation
yet,
with beer,
I
right?
take no chances.
Yeah.
Most of the brewing is cleaning. We're glorified janitors, and we love what we do, but so much of our time is spent cleaning, sanitizing, re-cleaning, ensuring that we are getting what we want and not what we don't.
I went to culinary school, and people would ask me, what was your specialty? And I said, well, the thing I did most was wash dishes.
Yep. Got quite a few ex-restaurant folks there.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do next is I'm going to use carbon dioxide to push this hot liquor through the line and then pack the line full of CO2. Oxygen is an enemy of beer for the most part. We're barrel aging, so we are expecting some oxygen pickup, but we'd like to reduce as much as possible. The barrel's going to breathe in and out,
Yep.
but in this line, in this transfer process, I want to reduce as much oxygen as possible. So I'm going to grab from our lovely card shelf here, male CO2 adapter, isopropyl alcohol, got this handy CO2 line, again with the isopropyl alcohol. This might make a bit of a mess. There we go. Actually purging. Ordinarily, we'd want this line to cool down a little bit to try to reduce beer loss. What I'm hoping to do is use some of this latent heat as it passes through to keep that honey warm, keep it from coagulating. Again, though, having not worked with honey very often, it could go either way. That could be a good thing, encouraging. I'm hoping to get a good mixture, get that honey distributed across the solution as much as possible. Or it could, my worry is, off gas and get some of those more delicate aromas from the honey out, which not trying to do necessarily.
The nice thing is the opening is pretty small.
Yeah, so I'm going to trap most of it. Hopefully
Yeah.
it just gets dispersed into the wood. Find out. That's good. Nice line. All that good. In the interest of not breaking any glassware today. Yeah, just sanitizing, making sure we already burned the outside. We're still packed with CO2. I'll try and purge the barrel itself too. Getting any atmospheric out, CO2 being heavier than air.
Yeah, hopefully this barrel doesn't leak.
We'll find out. I've got some tools at my disposal, but it would have to really gush.
Okay.
I need to change my mind.
All right.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and keep a pretty steady head pressure here. Not anything crazy, maybe like 5 psi tops. Whenever I'm using barrels, I try to keep a low pressure system. I don't want to disrupt the barrel, I don't want to shoot. Just trying to be delicate. Let's do it. We're ready. First thing that always comes out might be a little bit of yeast. It's okay to me though. Right away. That color is gorgeous.
Yeah, look at that.
CO2. Really see it. All right, so we are slowly transferring, and I can actually smell that honey already. It's great. Exactly what I was hoping for.